Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, breaking news.
We have breaking news just into our newsroom. Want to tell you about Fort Gordon. 10 soldiers injured at Fort Gordon today after a lightning strike. Fort Gordon officials confirmed this just within the last 20 minutes. We're working to get more details. They tell us the lightning strike itself happened around 11 o'clock this morning. Again, we're told 10 soldiers were injured when lightning hit one of their training areas. EMS did respond, but Fort Gordon officials could not tell us how severe any of those injuries are. Again, we're working to get more information. But Riley, can you tell us anything about the weather around that time? Perhaps how many lightning strikes were in the area?
Absolutely, Meredith. We had some pretty strong thunderstorms before lunchtime. So this is between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. You can see this was actually the strong thunderstorm that brought a flash flood warning across a large swath of Wilkes County, and they saw between 2 to 4 inches from this complex as it moved through areas around Fort Gordon and southern and western Richmond County. Overall, the lightning strikes weren't necessarily a lot right around 11 a.m. So it's showing 2 strikes of lightning with this wave right at 11 a.m. So it was just really bad luck. But this is why we always say when thunder roars, you need to get indoors. If you can hear that thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. Currently on Doppler Max radar, we're quiet, but as we continue later into this evening, we're going to see an outflow boundary from our south collide with an outflow boundary to our north. So it's looking like we're going to have a little bit better opportunity to see the potential maybe for some of those stronger showers and thunderstorms even this evening and continue again out there tomorrow. So for the rest of this evening through at least sunset, possibly even a couple hours after that, have the chance for some thunderstorms, but much more of the first alert in effect tomorrow in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. Now to Atlanta and SEC Media Days. Today, the Dogs take center stage. Kirby Smart enters his 7th season with the Dogs, fresh off a national title with the #1 ranked team in the land. Our Alyssa Lyons joins us live. And Alyssa, after 41 long years, the taste of victory was especially sweet. So a lot of us Dogs, myself and Riley included, we're anxious to hear what Coach Smart has in mind for this season.
Well, it's all about who's up next. After moving 15 guys off to the NFL and 7 taking on the transfer portal, Coach Kirby Smart, it's basically bringing in the next generation of shipment. 5 consecutive top 4 recruiting classes. Smart didn't take his foot off the gas. The reigning champs incoming class is large, to say the least. 29 signees, including one from our neck of the woods, Grovetown's Marcus Washington Jr., who will vie for a spot at quarter. No shortage of talent and plenty of bodies to fill the waiting gaps from last year's stars. It's just a matter of how fast they play catch up.
A lot of guys want to prove that they can replace the other guy, and they don't want to be the other guy, they want to be the next guy. And you look across the board, we had some really high profile players really on defense and offense when you count the backs and the receivers, that we have to replace those guys. And the hunger comes from the opportunity the talented players behind them have.
Meredith, nobody knows this process better than Stetson Bennett. That's who we'll hear from next.
All right, but first, I'm already hearing on Kirby Smart's push to make Georgia, Florida actual home and away games instead of in Jacksonville. Some mixed reaction there. Riley and I were talking about this. As a student, we both went all 4 years, but an extra home game in Athens, some like that better. How did that go over when he suggested it there?
Yeah, that is the question on the table. One of the reasons why he's asking this question now is because a lot of the recruits that they bring into these games, they're asking for a Florida-Georgia game at Georgia. So he wants it done. It's just a matter of when.
It'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see how the fans react too. Thanks for that update, Alyssa. Jealous of your assignment today. Okay, there is no chance disgraced lawyer Alec Murdaugh will be out of jail before his murder trial. He's accused of killing his wife and son last year. A judge denied his bond today on those charges. Blair Sable has the latest now from Colleton County.
Today was the first time we saw the disgraced and disbarred lawyer Alec Murdaugh in the flesh since he was indicted on new recent charges and the most serious ones he's facing, double murder. And Murdaugh looked very different from a few months ago when we last saw him in person. He was skinnier, he had a shaved head, and he had little to say in court today. Murdaugh pleaded not guilty to murder and weapons charges relating to the murders of his wife Maggie and son Paul. His defense team requested a speedy trial, stating in court that they believe the real killer is still at large. We could see some action here in Colleton County, South Carolina by the end of the year with a trial, although prosecutors said it might not be realistic to start proceedings until early next year. Both the state and defense appeared to be on the same page, agreeing to several stipulations, including sealing all motions related to evidence. The defense team also requested that the judge issue a gag order, fearing that all the media attention this case has gathered could taint the jury pool. In Colleton County, I'm Blair Sable.
A lot of people interested in the outcome. Thanks for that, Blair. Meanwhile, Burke County deputies are looking for another person, this woman, in connection to the Simon Powell case. They want Crystal Simmons for questioning. Deputies say she might be in Grovetown or in Columbia County with connections in Alabama as well. If you have any information regarding where she could be, please contact the Criminal Investigations Department at the Sheriff's Office. The Saluda County Coroner's Office working with SEDNR and deputies on a drowning. They recovered a victim from Lake Murray close to 9:30 a.m. near the Little River Landing. They've pronounced 72-year-old Ernie Wirtz dead. So far, their investigation found out that he rode inside a small boat before falling into the water yesterday. They started their search in the afternoon and found it this morning. They say their sympathies go toward Mr. Wirtz's family and friends. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office arrested a suspect in connection with a shooting. They charged this man, Stephen Galloway, with attempted murder and possession of a gun for shooting a mother multiple times yesterday, allegedly. Deputies say she was pushing her child in a stroller when this incident happened. They believe Galloway shot her because of road rage. He is in custody at the detention center and appeared for a bond hearing today. The Burke County Sheriff's Office still looking for this man. Take a good look. There's now a reward. Deputies are offering reward money for any information leading to those responsible for killing Morris Hardin Jr. at the beginning of the month. If you know anything about this case, call the Sheriff's Office and you can remain anonymous. With inflation hitting a record 40-year high, Americans are certainly feeling the pinch in their wallets more than ever before. Our D.C. Bureau's Nicole Newman talks to leaders at the state and federal level about how to bring prices down.
With the cost of goods and services at new highs, Americans are desperate for some financial relief. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says the uptick is fueled by record prices at the pump.
It is truly unaffordable. Right now in the state, we're averaging about $4.30, $4.35 statewide.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is calling on the Biden administration to open up America's energy production to drive down gas prices. In the Midwest, energy costs skyrocketed 33.8% in the past year. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says they're contributing to surging inflation, which is at a 40-year record high of 9.1%.
Inflation is the number one issue out there, right?
During a trip to the White House, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher talked to me about what he thinks needs to happen to bring prices down.
Businesses have got to get their supply chains back together, especially on the capital goods side, so those costs will go down. Energy costs seem to be going down now, 30 days in a row of gas prices going down.
Gas Buddy shows the average price of a gallon of gas in Midwest states ranges from $4 to $5. Without the option to take public transportation, families in rural areas have no choice but to drive the distance. U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development Undersecretary Xochitl Torres Small says the Biden administration is looking at long-term solutions.
Investing in ways to reduce the cost of fuel, whether it's through biofuels, as well as shortening those distances that you might have to go for healthcare, for school, or for your job. In the short term, President Biden says he will continue to release oil from America's strategic petroleum reserve to drive down gas prices. In Washington, I'm Nicole Newman.
We've been talking about inflation impacting gas and blood drives in our area, but there is one van making the rounds to help 13 counties with those needs. We'll talk about that more coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Don't forget, the Richmond County Health Department has walk-ins available for back-to-school immunizations. It's not just for COVID-19 vaccines for the next year. This, of course, includes certain shots required to go to school. They do them Mondays through Wednesdays every week until July 27th. You can bring your child from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. or after lunch until 4 p.m. Riley?
Well, storm chances continue this evening and tomorrow. We'll have a look at your first alert forecast just after break.
Time and temp.
Month with zero down. Save big and score with Newton Rubin Chevy.
Pick any spot on Earth. Chances are it is sweltering right now under record-breaking temperatures. In the U.S., more than 200 million Americans are dealing with a blistering heat wave blanketing much of the country. Jay Gray is in Dallas.
Good evening, and look, the heat wave tightening its grip right now really across the country. From California to New England, there are heat advisories in place. Some of the worst of it right here in Texas and Dallas specifically. Today, another day over 100. That makes 25 days so far this year over 100, and it's 7 more than 105. So it has just been a blistering heat here, one that most are dealing with by either staying inside or rushing to pools or splash pads like the one you see behind us here. Everyone trying to take it easy. As one 10-year-old told us, it's like living on the surface of the sun. I'm not sure it's that hot, but I can tell you it is really hot and causing some real problems here. Wildfires are an issue across North Texas, several over the last couple of days, including one just west of Fort Worth, still burning at this point and has chased dozens of people from their homes. You've got the ground shifting and cracking with all this extended heat, and that's causing water main breaks, so water's become an issue. And power usage, always a concern here in Texas. ERCOT, the company that regulates all of that, says that yesterday there was a record usage in Texas. That's the 10th time this year they've broken that record, and it could be broken again today. They say they have enough to keep going, but a lot of people very concerned about that moving forward. One other quick note. First responders telling us that they've done double the number of calls to those suffering from heat-related problems than they did this time a year ago. And the big concern for Texans right now is that it's only going to get worse. August usually the hottest month of the year here. That's the latest from here in Dallas. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
All right, thanks for that, Jay. And as we look over I-20 there in Grovetown, suddenly our temperatures here don't seem quite as bad. We were complaining about the heat a little bit, but First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale, I don't think we really have that much to whine about, honestly.
I know for places out across the Central Plains, Southwest as well, they're seeing temperatures well into the hundreds. 107 in Phoenix right now, Las Vegas at 107 as well, Dallas 104. They have a little bit drier air than we do, so even though we're at 89 degrees right now in Augusta, it technically feels like 100. That's how humid it is outside, so dew points in the mid-70s. Now, since we've been able to see our temperatures rebound, it's still very sticky outside. We are expecting more showers and thunderstorms to develop as we head later into this evening and tonight. It's all going to be thanks to two different outflow boundaries, two different waves of rain, cold air colliding with one another. So we're tracking these showers and storms south of I-16. That's gradually pushing that rain, cold air towards the north. And then some of these storms that are crossing I-85, those are dropping south and east and pushing that rain, cold air down towards us. So we're likely going to see these collide with one another over the next several hours, and likely will increase our coverage of rainfall across the CSRA. So a heads up if you have the evening plans. These showers and storm chances will continue into early tonight, and some of them can actually produce a low-end flash flood risk. So some very heavy rain with these storms, and we had some of that out there earlier this morning. Wilkes County saw between 2 to 4 inches with that morning thunderstorm. So through this evening, storm chances not zero. Definitely make sure you have that First Alert weather app in your back pocket if you're going to be out and about around town, so you can get those alerts. Heading into tomorrow, we actually have put out a first alert, so a higher opportunity for us to tap into severe weather chances. Scattered storms could also trigger flood alerts, so some very heavy rain and frequent lightning. That's something we always really try to highlight with these storms in the summertime. Even though if they may not be technically severe, they still produce a lot of cloud to ground lightning, and that is a real hazard to life. So if you do hear thunder, make sure you are getting inside. Flash flood risk does continue Thursday, so this is just one of the reasons why we have kind of upped the ante on the first alert. Also a slight risk across most of our counties, so a level 2 out of 5. Main threats with storms tomorrow, the flooding threat we just mentioned, but also some strong wind gusts, maybe even some small hail that are produced in these. So just a heads up, definitely stay weather aware heading into our Thursday. So through this evening and tonight, so once again, those two boundaries kind of collide, and they're going to produce a pretty good line of showers and thunderstorms across the area. This will continue through a little bit after sunset. Looking mostly dry Thursday, but not ruling out that there is a passing shower storm before lunchtime Thursday. So a heads up for this. The model's been highlighting this the past couple of runs. But I think the higher severe weather chance Thursday would be the second wave that shows up later into the afternoon and early evening. So this is where we're going to have to worry about a low end flood risk, maybe some strong wind gusts with these storms, and those will continue into early Thursday night as well. Friday, the pattern doesn't really look to change all too much, so we're going to be holding pretty steady in this pattern over the next several days. Here's your day planner for your Thursday. Once again, some scattered storms possible before lunchtime, and then later into the afternoon, we could see another wave show up after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So first alert in effect tomorrow, more storms on Friday, looking less of a threat to see those storms by the weekend.
All right, thanks, Riley. If you think you've been hit by cyber criminals, you are not alone. Phishing attacks are at an all-time high. We look at where these attacks happen the most, so you know what to look out for. Some news you can use is next.
The live
1 million attacks in just 3 months. That is a record for the number of phishing attempts by cyber criminals, according to a new industry survey. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackman breaks down the most popular targets under attack.
It's just sad that, to me, I guess, that somebody could fall for that.
Growing up in a world filled with social media sites and apps, 19-year-old Nathaniel McCormick said nothing ever really surprised him.
Scam calls or spam mail. I've grown up in this generation, so I know a little bit about that.
Until one morning when he said he woke up to a loaded inbox.
And like all of my friends got weird messages.
His Facebook account had been hacked. The message sent to his friends said, "Look who died," with a bunch of sad emoji faces and a link to click on. But that link was an attempt by hackers to phish his friends. Anyone who clicked could have jeopardized critical personal information. And when it comes to being victimized by phishing attacks, Nathaniel and his friends aren't alone.
We've had inbound reports that have been, verified through our system of well over 1 million records.
Peter Cassidy is Secretary General for the Anti-Phishing Working Group, or APWG. They analyze cybercrime, and in their latest data, phishing reached an all-time high in the first quarter of 2022.
What we see is not all that's out there. It's the shadow analog representation of larger trends worldwide, and it's scary.
Data from APWG shows the industry's targeted most often by phishing attacks. Social media is at 12%. The largest, the financial sector, including banks and payment apps, at 24%. Cassidy was even recently targeted with a banking scam while shopping online.
As soon as I saw the follow-up was, I need to pay for this upfront in Zelle, and no, we can't take credit cards. I knew what was going on.
So, what can you do? Cassidy says slow down and make sure the message you received makes sense. Also, keep your internet security software up to date. And if you need to pay to update your computers, do it. But make sure you find qualified people to help you.
From the perspective of the attackers, you are always a mark ready to be ripened and harvested.
It's why Nathaniel's sharing his story.
I was able to change my security, change my password.
He hopes to prevent others from being hacked or scammed and ending up as a statistic on the next phishing trend report. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
Well, we are tracking a thunderstorm complex near our southwestern counties. So Wrightsville, Swainsboro, get ready to have some thunderstorm activity heading your way. Now look at radar and that forecast just after the break. Is your home? Well, you're probably starting to notice some darker skies in places like Johnson and Emmanuel County. We are tracking some storms moving north, about to cross over I-16, so storm chances looking highest in those two counties over the next hour. Also, keep an eye on a wave of storms towards our north, and we're likely to see the rain-cooled air pools of these two waves just kind of collide with each other over the CS array. So we are expecting the chance for showers and thunderstorms to continue into this evening, possibly even early tonight. So definitely stay weather aware. Some of these could produce some heavy rain, especially if they just kind of stay put in one place. We could see some minor flooding issues, so a heads up for that. Tomorrow we do have a first alert in effect, so a little bit higher chance of seeing severe weather, and the low flood risk will continue Thursday into Friday as well. For the weekend, though, we do start to dry out a little bit. Isolated storms still possible, mainly in the afternoon. High temperatures will be a little bit warmer into the mid-90s.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. A local woman attacked by 5 dogs, according to a police report. We talked to police about what's being done when News 12 First at 5 continues.
Join us right here on WRDW